After taking a couple losses to start the season, both Smithtown West and Smithtown East have righted the ship of late. The East Bulls have won 2 of 3, and Smithtown West has won 4 straight coming into today's neighborhood rivalry game. It's Smithtown West and Smithtown East next on News 12 Varsity. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to Smithtown East High School. Matt Shortis, Dylan Butler with you as we get ready to start this one. And Dylan, when you get the two Smithtowns together, it's always a fun game. Guys that have grown up together and now see each other on opposite sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, you look at players on both teams. They've all played with each other in the Smithtown youth programs. But then when they get to high school, they got to switch sides. One guy goes to West, the other goes to East, and they only meet once a year unless there's a playoff game. So that's what makes this game so much fun, which gives it so much heat.
Last year, the one meeting was a huge one. Smithtown West won it in overtime. Jimmy Cadigan, who's leading the way at the midfield this year, he had the game winner in overtime last year.
Yeah, 10-9 win, and we've seen in previous years, look, Smithtown East, just a few years ago, when Bobby Burns was just a freshman, they beat Smithtown West when Smithtown West was our #1 team in the Tri-State. So there always seems to be very interesting, very tight games between these neighborhood rivals.
And for Smithtown East, Luke Eschbach, another guy in the midfield. He's been around for a while. He's also wearing the number 44, that historic Smithtown number.
Yeah, and Eschbach is an absolute beast. You'll have so much fun watching him. I was here when they played John Jay Cross River. You talk about a bull dodge. He ran over a John Jay Cross River Indian en route to a goal, and he's just a beast. He will go on and play Division I, just like so many of these other players. But you look out for Eschbach, no doubt about it. But of course, he's one of several key attacking players for Smithtown East.
Well, Ward Melville getting a lot of headlines early on this season, the defending Long Island champs, but Smithtown East and Smithtown West are right there. They go head-to-head next on News 12 Varsity.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all, the face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
As we get ready for this one, Smithtown East in the white and Smithtown West in the blue. It's Connor Calderon for Smithtown West, Steve Cucurullo for Smithtown East to face off. It's Calderon, the initial face-off win, but a ground ball will be scooped up for the moment by the blue and white, and still a battle for it on the far side. Kept in bounds and scooped up on the ground ball by Kyle Zawadsky. And Smithtown West will have the first offensive possession of the game. Took a while to get that one, but Zawadsky and company go to work.
Yeah, look for Danny Riley especially to be part of this attack. Great two-way midi for Smithtown West this year.
Down low, it's John Hoffman, Jason, his younger brother. Hoffman, a sophomore. Very balanced so far attackman this year. 9 goals, 10 assists. Now Zawadsky, the junior, working off a screen. Zawadsky comes up to GLE, up to the right point. They swing it around. A sidearm shot stopped away by Harkin. And a ground ball picked up and collected by Hoffman again. Hoffman looking right on the crease. Pass intended for Riley, deflected all the way up top. Scooped up near midfield by Andrew Arce. Sophomore with a goal and an assist so far this season for the Binghamton commit. Zawadsky, 3-year player, League One Rookie of the Year as a freshman.
Yeah, they've got a few of these guys on this West team that have been a part of this team since they were freshmen.
Cadigan, one of them. He's carrying the ball right now, trying to bull dodge his way in, dipping and diving and shooting one wide. Backing up was Zawadsky. The other thing you notice, especially with Smithtown West, is there's a lot of legacy guys, siblings and brothers. You hear names that you've heard for the better part of 7 years plus, like the Zawadzkis, and you get Cadigan in there. Ground ball picked up by Calvin Trebbing. And Trebbing trying to clear in a little bit of trouble. Feeding ahead for Brian Cosgrove. And Cosgrove getting it across for Luke Eschbach. And Smithtown East works away the defense for the first time and into the offensive zone. Here's Connor DeSimone coming off a monster of a game, 7 goals, looking to get involved early, moves up top. Eschbach, and what a save by Erler going to his left.
And Erler, another one of those guys we talked about for a few years now, where he's a savvy veteran in the cage. Great extension, makes a fantastic kick save.
We've talked for years about the embarrassment of riches that both these teams have had at the face-off X, and Smithtown West has that as well in goal today. Hunter Greco, one of their starting long poles, well, he's committed to play goalie at Binghamton, and they also have another goalie on the staff who's a Division I commit to go along with Ryan Erler, who's committed to Stony Brook.
And don't think, by the way, that embarrassment of riches is over at the face-off X either. Both teams stockpiling face-off guys, Division I face-off guys. But, of course, last few years, it was all about Varello and Arceri, right? Two of the best at the X the last couple years. A little bit different this year. Maybe some of the names have changed, but it should be an interesting battle there and really throughout the field in this game.
A young guy in Calderon, but he's committed to Maryland. And Cucurello to Harvard. This one ringing off the crossbar. Off the stick of Andrew Arce, the sophomore. So both teams getting some good looks in the early going. 3.5 minutes gone by. Still scoreless between West and East. Here's Sawatsky moving it back up top. Another shot this time. Harkin is there. And we'll have goalie interference. So that'll stop it for a moment.
Yeah, Harkin did a good job just seeing that ball right into his stick.
The last loss for Smithtown East earlier last week against John Jay Cross River. Jason Lambert, the head coach for Smithtown East, said Thomas Harkin really kept them in that game because they were struggling offensively early on. A game they ended up losing in overtime.
Yeah, also the big bugaboo for the Bulls that game was
the penalties.
Penalties, 9 of them, 6 cashed in by the Indians.
Here's Eschbach. Double slides over to him, moving it back up top. Bobby Burns, a senior. And right side for Latini. Latini has only played in 2 games so far this season, but 9 points, 5 goals, 4 assists. And he did not play in that game against John Jay Cross River. Played a lot of midfield last year, sliding back to his natural attack position this year. A lefty attacker has it checked out of his stick, able to recover for the moment, and regains control in that far corner. 5 minutes gone by in the opening quarter, still scoreless. Bobby Burns looking right on the crease, and Erler closed his legs just in time to deny the 5-hole shot.
And then you see Barry just pick up his head and look to the heavens like, how did I not get that goal in?
DeSimone up top, low to high, and that delivered. Sean Barry was denied the first time, but cashes in this time. And Connor DeSimone hooks up with Sean Barry for the first goal of the game.
Yeah, good job by both DeSimone and Barry there, where, you know, Barry doesn't stay frustrated after getting robbed the second earlier. DeSimone finds him in a great spot, and Barry goes low to high for the game's first goal.
Well, Connor DeSimone switched from midfield to attack last year and had a torrent offensive year. And he has kept it up this year. 18 goals and now 12 assists on the season through 5+ games.
Yeah, one of those marquee guys on Long Island that you've known about the last few years. And this is DeSimone's chance to really make his mark, an All-American a year ago.
Well, Cucurello won the face-off, but looked like they whistled Smithtown West procedure anyway. So either way, Smithtown East ball.
And there you see Barry's 6th goal of the year.
Barry committed to Towson down in Maryland. Here's Marino getting his first touch of the contest. Marino around a double. Back at X. It's Barry dipping and dodging up top for DeSimone, who was playing X on the prior possession. Now up top near the midfield.
Yeah, expect him, though, to go back to X. He's so good there.
He's so creative and can get so many guys involved and also take from himself from that X spot. Here's DeSimone with the pole on him, driving to his left. Shot blocked before. Nobody knew where it was. DeSimone able to recover it as it was behind him. Moves it ahead to Barry at the X. Barry coming goal line extended. Low angle shot bounces in. Mike Latini putting it in Smithtown East, an early 2-0 lead. Well, that was a tough angle shot for Mike Latini. Coming off a game where he had 4-1 against Walt Whitman, a 17-5 win for Smithtown East. Brian Herbert taking the faceoff now for East. Calderon still out there for Smithtown West.
Yeah, East will switch it up. And there's a face-off win, an opportunity to add on to this lead now.
Ground ball to Garrico. Brian Herbert, another senior, a Hofstra commit. He's more your traditional Fogo, where Cucurello, they might leave out there for an offensive possession if he wins the faceoff. Whereas for Smithtown West, Cucurello's really the primary guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Lambert said, too, to me in the preseason,
Rowan shooting on the run just wide.
that he's willing to give them both a look. And if one guy gets hot or really emerges between the two, he'll go with him as the season progresses.
Wow, I thought DeSimone was closest to it, but not so, say our officials. Mike Delia, Charlie Collins are the officials today. Here's a turnover into the stick of DeSimone. One-on-one with the goalie, shoots high and scores.
Yeah, and that goal, he's not going to get an assist, but Latini, what a great job. On the ride, lifts his stick up, gets the ball, and then is DeSimone on Erler. And you like those odds if you're Smithtown East. DeSimone pots the goal, and it's his 19th of the year. And it's a 3-goal lead for Smithtown East.
Well, the attack getting the job done early on. All three starting attackmen for Smithtown East have notched a goal in this first quarter with 4:38 to go. Smithtown East on top 3-0. Cucurello battling with Herbert. And Herbert trying to fall on top of it, so Smithtown West will have the possession.
Important possession here for Smithtown West. They can't really afford to get too deep of a hole right now. And we saw early on, they had the ball. Hit the pipe. A save by Harkin, but unable to find the back of the net yet.
They won the first face-off and had some good possession on that opening series. Like you said, just not able to cash in. Giving their defense a little rest, slowing down and holding some possession here. Dan Riley getting isolated up top. Riley cutting back, shooting space just high. Good chance for Riley.
Yeah, I like that little swim dodge, and then he switched hands.
They'll bring it back in the form of Zawadzki. He's at X, elects to not use the screen. Comes above goal line extended. Here's the sophomore Arcee. And trying to give and go, he's chased back at X. Matt Cadigan, the younger brother of Jimmy Cadigan, a sophomore in his second midfield unit for Smithtown West, that is.
You can't say Bulls either.
Yeah, always got to add the qualifier. Go with West or East or the blue and white or the red and white.
I tried to get away with saying Smithtown will win this game when I was on Huddle Up today with Amanda Beglise. She was having none of it.
Zawadzki, tremendous defense for Smithtown East, shutting down a lot of the alleys right now. Arcee cutting to his right. Oh, and the East sideline recognizing that as well, getting real into it.
Yeah, a moment ago it was Cosgrove.
Knocked down on the crease, ball to the turf. Tapped forward, and a good hard ground ball by Matt Cadigan coming away with it.
And this similar to that first possession of the game for West, but still unable to get on the scoreboard. Approaching 2 minutes left in this first quarter.
Smithtown West has won 4 straight. Big reason for those. They've gotten out to good, strong starts, especially in the 15-6 win against Comac last week.
Yeah, and that win, that really, you know, they had those early losses, and maybe people maybe forgot about them. Nice move by Riley.
Riley moving in, he puts it home. Dan Riley circling around a defender and just able to sneak it by Tommy Harkin.
Yeah, so elusive is Riley. Just spun and created just that sliver of space he needed to score his 17th goal of the year.
Captain for Smithtown West. He had the game-tying goal last year in the fourth quarter to send the game to overtime. He had 5 goals in that game last year. 5 of the 10 for Smithtown West on that afternoon.
But I was mentioning West, you know, they had those 2 early season losses and other procedures, so West will get this ball and maybe a chance to cut their deficit to 1 in the closing moments of the second quarter. But that win over Comac, because of the decisiveness of it, and again, Comac's a team that beat Smithtown East. They're in our top 20, so that, I think, really opened eyes and kind of reintroduced Smithtown West as one of the elite teams. Ground ball, though, picked up by Smithtown East.
Connor DeSimone bring it up. We had Chaminade and Ward Melville on Saturday, and even Jay Nagus made a point to bring that game up. Latini looking down low on the crease. Shot fake. Erler not biting on it and stayed with it and got the stop.
Erler is so good. And that one, the advantage was certainly to East. But you see Erler, not the biggest guy, but great reflexes. Difficulty clearing here.
We got a failure to advance on Smithtown West.
Or did they call a timeout? They did just get a timeout in.
Okay, timeout. I was reading the body language of Bob Maltesanti, the head coach for Smithtown West, and thought that it might have been the turnover. 1:01 to go in that first quarter. And, Dylan, you talk about the, I'll put it in air quotes, slow start for Smithtown West. I mean, they lost to Garden City and Cold Spring Harbor.
Yeah, no. I mean, and you look at even Smithtown East 2 losses to 2 teams that are right now in our tri-state top 20 as well. So they both play great schedules, and you know that those games, I mean, Garden City, you'd right now put with Manhasset as a favorite in Class B, and Cold Spring Harbor, all they are 2-time defending champions in Class C, state champions, and very much the favorite to win a third. So Maltesanti handpicked those games for a reason. Great competition, and it gets them ready for a league schedule that is just unforgiving. I mean, Ward Melville, Smithtown East, Comac this year is very good. Northport's always tough. Connecticut, CHM North, on and on.
And a lot of times you see coaches that like to stagger those non-conference games, but Bob Maltesanti wants those at the beginning of the season so he can test his team. So they go back-to-back against the tough non-conference games. By the time they get into conference, which you saw early on here, 4-0 start. And talking about the rest of League One, result from earlier today, Ward Melville getting back to their winning ways, beating West Islip, always a big rivalry game there.
Yeah, 9-5, Matty Gurlow, 3 goals, 1 assist, and I don't think that's a bad result for Scotty Craig's Lions. You know, they were undefeated coming into that game, but really the schedule, the quality opponent wasn't quite like Ward Melville has faced. So that's their first true test. Obviously, they lose the game, but a 4-goal loss to the defending champions, I think it proves that West Islip will again be a contender in Suffolk Division I.
Defending state finalist, Ward Melville. Jimmy Cadigan over the midfield line as we're out of the timeout and under a minute to go in the first quarter. 3-1, Smithtown East leading Smithtown West on a absolutely gorgeous day. The first day of spring break for most of the high schools in our area. Here's the sophomore John Hoffman. Roll dodging at goal line extended. And Smithtown West looks like they'll hold for one shot with under 30 seconds to go. Now Hoffman will come to the angle and let it go with 23 seconds to go, and Harkin is there for the stop.
And this gives East an opportunity now for one last opportunity.
Connor Rowan bringing the ball up. Rowan, a guy who could be a one-man clear under 10 seconds. Rowan moving ahead for Eschbach. Eschbach to the left side. Eschbach splitting the defense. His shot got in the way of somebody's helmet, I believe. And that's the way the first quarter comes to an end. So Smithtown East started the game with 3 straight. Danny Riley got the one for Smithtown West, and it's a 3-1 lead after one for the home team.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all. The face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Two-goal game as we go to the second quarter. Matt Schroeder, Stellan Butler, Josh Strebsky, Amanda Puglisi with you as we
cast of thousands.
Yeah. We're at Smithtown East High School as the home team on top 3-1. Ready to begin the second quarter. Connor Calderon, a clean face-off win. He goes with numbers, shoots just high, whizzing past the right ear of Thomas Harkinen out of bounds. Kyle Zawadski backing up for the road team, the blue and white of Smithtown West. Coming in, winners of 4 straight and unbeaten in league play.
I think we saw both goalies having solid first quarters. Earlier, maybe a few more bigger saves. But Harkin right there as well. Great crowd, too.
Well, first day off from school. We got standing room only in most parts on the near sideline for the Smithtown East fans.
One of the best parts of it for me, too, is you see all the little kids with their lacrosse sticks as well. Future Bulls, whether it's East or West.
Well, part of that also is because Lambert and Maltasanti, the two respective head coaches, they're so involved in the youth programs as well for Smithtown.
And also the actual Bull is here as well.
Yes, he is. At least on the east sideline. Who's he side with in a game like this?
Probably whoever's leading.
Roll dodge for Jimmy Cadigan. And this one, another one off the post. This time it's Cottage. Second time that Smithtown West has clanked the iron. And offsides, they say, on Smithtown West that one of the defenders stepped over. So East back to it. Here's DeSimone moving quickly across the feed. And a pulled shot by Latini just goes wide.
That's not easy. DeSimone, full speed ahead, goes across the field for Latini. There was a lot of other guys there in between those two.
There were a lot of sticks up in passing lane, too. He threaded the needle there. DeSimone back to the cage, shovel pass back up top. Inside, into the crease to a cutter. Shot fake and a goal down low for Connor Rowan.
Yeah, Rowan threw about 5 or 6 different fakes there before finally putting it past Erler. And again, that 3-goal lead for Smithtown East.
Rowan is 3rd goal of the season. Committed to play at the Coast Guard Academy. Ran winter track last year, and Jason Lambert says he's just so much faster than he was a year ago, showing some speed in tight. Calderon the face-off win, but the pass unable to be handled, and then scooped up off the turf by Brandon Mayer. And a chance for Smithtown West to settle things down, looking once again at a 3-goal deficit. Don't forget last year, though. That was a come-from-behind win for Smithtown West in overtime. East controlled a good portion of that game up top. Riley, who has the game's only goal for the blue and white.
And you see, again, a more patient approach for West. East likes to get up and down. They're like the Golden State Warriors. They just are on constant attack, 100 miles an hour. West, because of all the pressure I think the East attackmen put on the defense, they certainly want to slow it down and give those guys a bit of a breather.
I've got two across up top on the crease, and now they spread everything out, isolate Riley up top. Riley giving off, pass knocked away. To the ground it goes, to chase for it. Giving chase is Cosgrove for Smithtown East. Cottage is in the conversation over there for West, and eventually we'll have a loose ball push.
No, timeout.
Timeout.
Timeout for East. Great
for
job on
Smithtown
that,
East.
by the way, by Bobby Burns, getting his stick up in the passing lane, deflecting that attempt. And East will maintain possession after calling a timeout.
Well, at the NCAA level, being number one in the country has been a bit of a hex the last few weeks. I
Just
think it's
ask
six out of the last 7 weeks the number one team has fallen. Most recently, that was Penn State. They lost to Maryland this past weekend, but the Penn State-Smithtown connection is incredibly strong. The head coach, Jeff Tambori, has been a head coach at Penn State for a long time, and before that was an assistant up at Cornell. He's got Gerard Arceri, who's been a huge key for them, and the year they've had, of course, Ryan Keenan, who's the last Keenan to come through here, and Pete Triolo, who's a senior, who's a long pole here for Jason Lambert and company. And you go back to his Cornell days, and he recruited Rob Pinnell as well. So a strong Smithtown, both East and West connection with Jeff Tambori and Penn State.
Listen, if you're Tambori and you want to hitch your wagon to a neighborhood, I don't think Smithtown is a bad choice with all the great lacrosse players in both programs, that's for sure. And it continues as well, right? I think there's a player or two on these teams, no?
Bobby Burns.
Yeah, Burns going to Penn State. And he committed a couple of years ago, too.
And I'm sure there's somebody else that we're probably missing.
Well, he found a way to get a kid from St. Anthony's that everyone's talking about, Brennan O'Neill, that's for sure.
And not only that, some of the other Long Island connections. Nick Aponte, Mac O'Keefe had a phenomenal game in one of his first games of the year as a freshman, scored 8 goals.
I was watching a little bit to kind of mentally prepare myself for this game. I watched simultaneous college lacrosse games yesterday. I had North Carolina and Virginia going.
Virginia, yep.
And then I had a little JMU Ohio State as well to catch a little Mac O'Keefe, former Syosset standout.
I mean, the Big Ten in lacrosse has become ridiculous. It used to just be the ACC, but now you have, with Hopkins and Maryland in the Big Ten to go along with Ohio State, Rutgers, Penn State, Michigan in there as well. DeSimone up top for Rowan, who had the game's last goal. We're 4 minutes into the second quarter. 4-1 is the Smithtown East advantage. Wayward pass getting away, scooped up by Smithtown West. Matt Cadigan, look at the speed on the sophomore going to his brother Jimmy into that shot, hit a helmet it looked like, and took a big bounce up into the air and out of bounds.
I think it actually went off a stick on the far side. I believe it was James Peters.
Matt Cadigan, the middle of 3 siblings, of course Jimmy, and he's got a younger sister. And Bob Maltesanti said she won't be playing for us, though she probably could. Here's Zawatsky trying a tough angle shot going wide.
Those are always tough because you know the defender's coming at you. So it's almost like making that catch if you're a receiver over the middle. You know when you swim around that cage.
The contact is coming.
Yeah, some physicality is coming your way.
There's Jimmy Cadigan with 9 goals and 3 assists, a 2-time All-County performer. And had the game-winning goal last year. Here's Dan Riley again, and Riley gets hammered. And we'll have a whistle and a push with possession.
Yep. First real big hit, you'd say, of this game.
Yeah, passes have been pretty tight.
Mm-hmm. You know, we're not keeping possession time, but you'd probably say, right, Smithtown West, the better possession numbers, time of possession at least.
Yes, time of possession for sure. I think Smithtown East has had better scoring chances.
Yeah.
They could have a few more. Ryan Erler's made some really nice saves. Here's Hoffman with it. Hoffman, a Providence lacrosse commit, only a sophomore. Dan Riley at X. Riley keeping his edge. Riley loads and fires. And a save by Hoffman, put back in on a rebound as Riley falls into the crease. And as a result, it'll be waved off. No goal. And Smithtown West stays at 1.
Yeah, tough break for Riley. He's saying he was pushed in, but he was right there and picked up his own rebound. And actually, yeah, you know what? They're calling the goal off, but they are saying that he was pushed, so Smithtown West will maintain possession.
It's an interesting call, because if he got pushed, I mean, maybe if it was before the shot, I guess.
That's probably the argument that Riley was making.
Cadigan straight away on the dodge. He goes, and that one clips the stick of Harkin and goes in.
Yeah, a bit of a worm burner. Finds its way through, low shot. And another big one for Smithtown West. They are staying in this game. They're winning the face-offs as well. Last few were won by Calderon.
Cadigan scoring his 10th goal of the season. Herbert for Smithtown East out there, and Calderon for Smithtown West on the face-off X. Senior against sophomore. And that's the matchup regardless of who's facing off for Smithtown East. Ground ball to West. Picked up by Christian Loud. A quick shot in transition. Harkins there. Harkins' pass for the moment got away from DeSimone, but DeSimone on a gallop across midfield.
Yeah, you don't want to give him open space. You mentioned how creative he is.
And here is Luke Eschbach. We talked about the 244s in honor of the former Smithtown coach Kevin Huff. That's an important number for both Smithtown West and Smithtown East. Here's Connor DeSimone, defended by the long pole midfielder Christian Loud. And they slide him back. Little skip, makes the defender fall up top. Good recovery by Barry, then he can't handle it. To the sideline it goes, out of bounds, and a turnover by Smithtown East. And a flag coming after that.
Late.
I don't know if somebody said something to the official.
Looks like it.
Luke Eschbach coming off the field. I don't know if it was him, the guilty party, but it's going to be an unreleasable penalty. And it looks like Luke Eschbach is the one serving the penalty. So that's the only thing I could think of. He must have said something to the official.
Yeah, I mean, the ball went out of bounds, and both teams kind of pointing to where it went. I guess the idea from up here is that he thought that they got the ball, but did not. And again, it's a penalty, the first one of the game, but we look back a week ago, 9 penalties against John Jay Cross River, and really proved to be the big difference. 6 goals scored on the extra man opportunity for the Indians, and in a 1-goal game in overtime, that looms large.
And the big thing, I'm sure, for Jason Lambert is that one's a penalty you don't have to take.
No.
That's very avoidable.
Yeah, if it's a slash, if it's a trip, if you'll kind of take those because they're aggressive penalties. This one is unnecessary.
So West trying to get back into it. Cut it to a 1-goal deficit. Up top for Cadigan, makes the extra pass down low, and Harkin stops it.
18 seconds left on the unreleasable penalty, so if they get a clear here, they'll be good.
And with the extra man out there, Smithtown West riding hard. Lobbed pass ahead, bouncing through to Sean Barry.
We're even.
And teams are even now. Kevin Eli had the ground ball. And I believe Bob Maltesanti will take his second timeout with 3:27 remaining in the first half in a 4-2 contest. So Smithtown East working off the first penalty.
I'll tell you, I mean, the way lacrosse is in Long Island, I feel like almost any day is a big day. Today's a big Monday, where Melville, West Isley we mentioned before. But how about Saturday, Super Saturday? We will all be involved, Dave Resnick as well. How about these 3 games? First, you see it on your screen. Smithtown East hosting Massapequa. That gets the party started at 11 a.m. An hour later, myself, Dan Savarino, will be out at Cy Donnelly Field for Del Barton St. Anthony's at noon. And then 1 hour after that, the number 1 team in the tri-state, Darien, comes to Manhasset. Mentioned before, Dave Resnick on the call for that. That's all you need to do on Saturday. Just get the app going. Maybe it's a nice day, get in the backyard, get some burgers going, and you'll have a full day of high-level lacrosse on Saturday.
I always love that Darien Manhasset game, too. It's one of those games.
Battle of the Sound.
One of those games that they play year in and year out. Just like St. Anthony's and Del Barton as well.
Yeah, and that game a little bit different this year as well. Manhasset, new coach, new kind of system as well. They're number 9 in our tri-state. Darien, number 1. They ended the year number 1. They start the year number 1. And you look at the kind of way they're winning some games. They could stay number 1 for a while. Let's see if Manhasset can maybe change that come Saturday afternoon.
3:27 remaining in the first half. Four to 2, Smithtown East on top.
I think a lower scoring game than maybe I anticipated, but I wonder if that just kind of works in Smithtown West's favor a little bit, all that time possession they've had.
When you saw last week, you were here when they played John Day Cross River. They put up 16 goals in the loss.
Yeah.
And Smithtown West has put up 13 and 15 in their last 2 games, respectively. Matt Miller stepping into the box for Smithtown West. West out of timeouts for the remainder of the first half. But you're right, Dylan. The pace has been very different when the 2 teams have been on offense. West is a little bit more deliberate. And Smithtown East, they look to get a lot of rubber towards the cage and early on. Give off for Matt Cadigan on the right side. He's got the short stick on him, rolls, drawing a double on a slide, moving it back up top for Riley.
Now I'll say this, I think the East defense has done a good job keeping West to the outside and maybe settling for some longer distance shots than they want. They haven't really gotten inside too much.
And Riley will turn around on one. A Karam on the way to Harkin, and he just catches it happily in the basket.
And that's another one, too, where Riley shoots from distance.
Smithtown West continues their ride. And we'll have a whistle, timeout, Smithtown East. Talked about the Tri-State rankings. Top 20 in the Tri-State. As you mentioned, Darien R1. A couple of teams in the top 20 in this game here.
Yeah, we'll have some changes this week. And maybe one of these teams might make their way in. We'll see. Maybe the winner gets in. You could tune in Tuesday at 7 for the Tri-State Boys Lacrosse Top 20. Myself, Jimmy Cavallo, Mike Kinney.
I mean, a lot has changed since the last rankings. Last week we had St. Anthony's at 3. They lost to Chaminade. Ward Melville, they lost to Chaminade.
Yeah, a big week for the Flyers.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Ridgewood lost. Comac lost. They were 14, so.
A lot of moving and shaking. Potentially in the Tri-State top 20 poll.
And again, too, one of the beauties, I think, of lacrosse in our area is that everyone seems to play each other. So even on Wednesday.
Makes your life easy.
Yeah, much easier. On Wednesday, you've got John Jay Cross River hosting Cold Spring Harbor. Cold Spring Harbor today playing up at New Canaan. So those also very big games that will affect the top 20.
I mean, it makes it much easier for you because then when people say, how come we're not ranked?
Yeah.
You know, you just say, you lost to this team head to head.
That is until you maybe get late in the year.
Yeah.
When this team beat that team and then that team beat the other team, and then it just becomes a whole convoluted mess. And then I just say it's Jimmy Cavallo's fault.
But they knew.
That's right. That's right.
Smithtown East from the right side. Might have drawn a penalty, but no flag.
Yeah, you could hear that, right?
Looked like Hunter Greco might have grazed the helmet of Marino. Here's Bobby Burns. Nice move to get his hands free. Burns up top as the slide came over. 1:37 to go in the first half of play. A 4-2 Smithtown East advantage.
There's Eschbach. You see them drawing the double. Seems like any one of those guys, once they have the ball, gets the quick double.
Here's Marino dodging. And West not allowing them to get the ball really into the hands or the stick of the attackers.
Yeah, and West kind of, with their patient offensive set, they're kind of dictating the way this game is played. Now, Smithtown East playing a little bit slower maybe than they want to. Ground ball.
Burnson lost the ball in a back check.
Looks like a push.
Loose ball push on Smithtown West. Under a minute to play. Quickly back in. DeSimone to the crease. A goal for Latini, his second of the game. And East back on top by 3.
And that was quick right off that restart. Nice, crisp passing. Latini gets it on the crease. The assist to DeSimone. And again, the 3-goal lead for Smithtown East. His second of the game. DeSimone's second assist of the game.
They saw the opening on the restart. Just had a chance. Connor DeSimone already over 30 points in 5 games. Cucurullo back to the faceoff X, along with Calderon. Looked like Calderon won it, and then Cucurullo held him. So West getting it back with 54 seconds left in the first half, and Calderon staying out there. And now he'll scurry off. Riley coming on.
Important possession.
Now towards the end of the first quarter, it didn't bite them, but Smithtown West took the shot with about 23 seconds left. And East almost had an opportunity to get a shot of their own on the end of that first quarter. Here is Sawatsky drawing the double team up top, looking for Hoffman, who couldn't hold on, but recovered by Riley.
Yeah, see Riley pulling it out. They will look to hold for the last now.
13 seconds left in the first half. Riley with 8. Riley switching hands. He's got the pole on him. 3. Riley looking right on the crease. Across, broken up. Cadigan catches, fires wide. Just at the horn. Tough pass for Riley to make to Cadigan. even still was able to take the shot, but off target. And with 24 minutes in the books, Smithtown East on top of Smithtown West, 5-2.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all, the face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Second half about to begin at Smithtown East with the home team on top 5-2 over Smithtown West. Matt Shortis, Dylan Butler, Don Strebsky, and Amanda Puglisi on hand for a Monday matinee. A battle of Smithtown. And Calderon, he's looked good at the face-off X. He's gotten into a little rhythm. He's gotten some possession, but West has not been able to capitalize much since.
Yeah, just those 2 goals, 1 in each quarter. Riley and Cadigan. Some balanced scoring for Smithtown East in that first half. Latini with 2.
DeSimone, a goal and 2 assists.
Yeah, Barry's got 1.
Along with Connor Rowan. Not in that order.
Right, if you're scoring at home.
This is John Hoffman. And now it's Sawatsky, who's been held in check largely. Sawatsky, the second leading goal scorer on the team coming into today behind Riley. Now it's Cadigan, and going down low is Harkin on a knee to stop that shot.
Yeah, one of the few times it appeared that West had an inside track at the goal. Really, again, East's defenders doing a really good job of just keeping them to the outside. This time, though, the clear is troublesome, and they'll need to.
It's a failure to
I was
advance.
gonna say, need to call a timeout. They weren't able to. That wasn't even close. And they still had another 25 yards to get to midfield.
But the Poles, you're right, Dylan, of Cosgrove, Peters, and Trebbing have done a nice job, and that is with Sean York playing some sparing minutes. One of their captains has been hurt throughout the season. John Jay was his first full game. Here's a shot just whistling wide by Hoffman.
And Eschbach getting his pound of flesh. First a cross check, then a few slashes.
The addition of, or the emergence of John Hoffman and Mark Cottage allowed Jimmy Cadigan to move to the midfield, where at least Bob Maltesanti felt he was better used or could be better used. And Riley somehow sneaking one past Harkin. I think Harkin fully expected him to pass that and feed it off to X. And instead, Riley goes top shelf, and not much of an effort made by Tom Harkin.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. A shot that surprised the Smithtown East goalie. He's got his hands in his hips now, probably thinking he should want that one back, but just high near post, snuck it in, his second of the game. That's now a 2-goal game.
Smithtown West has cut it to 2 a couple of times today, and they've not been able to get inside that, as Smithtown East started the game scoring 3 straight from Barry, Latini, and DeSimone. We're going to have a hold on the loose ball, and Smithtown West will get it back. That last goal by Riley kind of short-sticked it. There wasn't a lot of power behind it. And here he's got it back in his stick again. He's got 2 of the 3 today for Smithtown West.
Maybe that's the key for the visiting Bulls, because a lot of the shots they've wound up to try to take, they've either gone wide or hit a bar or have been saved. Maybe it's more about precision than power.
There's Matt Cadigan, the sophomore, tucking it in around a check. Cadigan, left-handed shot right into the waiting hands of Tom Harkin.
And now let's see if the home Bulls can clear. Hard ride again.
Volker in the right spot for the ground ball, but they got to get it away quickly. They move it upfield. It was over midfield. But another failure to advance.
I thought when it hit the player on the other side of midfield that the time would have went off, but they didn't have possession.
And now Smithtown East mucking it up, and they'll get it back. So the intensity on the ride and the clear has been ratcheted up by both teams. Burns able to create the turnover for Smithtown East.
And that ride that we're seeing from West, you wonder if maybe something that Maltasanti watched from the film a week ago, because that was such a difficulty for East against those great long poles of John Jay, Cross River. Burke and Adamak especially really caused havoc.
Latini looking on the crease. The pass gets all the way through to the right point. Burns picks it up. Now Burns veering out to his right. Here's DeSimone. Good sign for Smithtown West in that it's 4+ minutes and DeSimone getting his first touch of the quarter. DeSimone up top into a charging Mike Marino, and that went off the pipe out of bounds. Smithtown West will have it. A great effort from the first-year starter, Kevin Eli, the sophomore, sprinting towards the near sideline.
Going back to the start of this game, 3 consecutive goals for Smithtown East, and the closest West has come is this margin, 2 goals, twice.
Trailed 3-1, 4-2, and now 5-3. Cadigan being pestered by Macarico. Here's Riley again. Riley with his eyes up, looking for goal, pulled it wide. Dan Riley, 2-time All-County performer, committed to the University of Delaware. They had a big win earlier this season. They were one of the teams that knocked off a #1. They beat Rutgers.
Yeah. The week that Rutgers
had gotten to be the #1. Believe that was Rutgers' first top-ranked team in any sport since Alexi Lawless was on their soccer team.
That's a good shout for Big Red.
6:34 to go in the third quarter.
And I believe that was 1992.
Yes. Here is Cadigan. And Cadigan tucks it inside. A lot of contact down low. And Harkin is there again.
Yeah, Cosgrove really causing problems. Ball goes out of bounds. It will stay with Smithtown West. So again, the possession time all for the visiting Bulls.
Cadigan moving inside. Harkin clamps down on it.
And an easier clear this time for East.
Here's Rowan, nifty stick work in tight by Latini, and he puts it in. A little toe drag action for Matt Latini. He's got the hat trick.
Yeah, Latini, that was essentially for self-preservation because there were 2 Smithtown West defenders ready to put him through the turf, and took a little stutter step to avoid both of them before firing in his 3rd goal of this game.
So Matt Latini, who they missed through the first 3 games of the season, and now in his 3 games of action, he's got 8 goals and 4 assists. Coming off 4-1 against Walt Whitman the other day.
Procedure, Smithtown West with the ball.
Brian Herbert's body language was definitely quizzical. Want to know what he did? So again, even though Smithtown West has had a bulk of the time of possession, it's been Smithtown East who's been able to finish their possessions. And again, they extended to 3. It's as large as it's been between these two. Sophomore Andrew Arce committed to Binghamton. Sawatsky being D'd up by Volkler. Here's Hoffman again. Hoffman up top. Spinning his Mayer. Now Riley cuts across on a face dodge. Under 5 to play in the third quarter. 6-3. Smithtown East leading. Riley, a high bouncer going wide of the cage.
You can see they're trying different things when they would try to go directly at Harkin. He's made the saves. He's seen the ball into his stick well, so now you're seeing a lot of bounce shots, different angles.
There hasn't been so much changing planes, though, with the exception of the bounce shots. Cadigan up top straight away for Riley. Riley steps in, sidearms it, rings it off the post again. The third time today that Smithtown West has hit iron.
I mean, he couldn't have put that shot. I guess he could have put it more perfectly because it could have went in the net, but shot that as hard as he could and just rang right off that far post.
He loaded up. Riley cuts it inside, left-handed shot. Harkin there, rebound in front. Smithtown East had it. And Kevin Trepping trying to make the case that he was tripped up. Instead, he lost it trying to swim through 2 defenders.
Yeah, that time Riley tried to use one of those defenders as a screen for his shot.
There's Hoffman, who lost the ball on his stick on the transfer. Trepping scoops it up off the turf. East with some quick passing. They get it to Connor Rowan. Rowan with a goal today. Numbers if Smithtown East hurries up. Latini. First time in what feels like a very long time that Smithtown East has had the ball.
And I think West is, again, that's when you look at East and what their strength is they score goals in a hurry. You know, they could pot 3 in 20 seconds, and they've done that certainly in years past, especially with the great Jerry Orseri at X. And here they've taken that away from them. They forced them more into, to use a basketball term, a half-court game. And it's been a struggle for the host Bulls.
Here's DeSimone cutting across. Look, I thought that was a shot the way it came off the stick, and it was. Scoring has definitely been lower than anticipated. Rowan around Riley. Riley recovers on a nice back check, and that will be a turnover.
That's why he's one of the best two-way middies on Long Island. He gets things going on the offensive side, but also causes turnovers. And again, Smithtown West with the ball.
Matt Miller, the sophomore, will step it over the midfield line.
At some point, though, if you're Bob Maltasanti's team, you've got to capitalize on all this extra possession that you do have.
2 minutes to go in the third. 6-3, Smithtown East still on top. And last year was a come-from-behind victory for Smithtown West.
Yeah, 10-9, so scoring-wise, that also a relatively low-scoring game, especially by Smithtown East standards.
Feed across for Riley. Riley tied up by Cosgrove. And Cosgrove jars the ball loose. Carrico the pull over midfield. Carrico to the left side. Swing it across for Latini. And Latini will pull it back out. We like that for Smithtown East. They do like to push the pace. They were trying to, but the slide was well covered and the fast break was well covered by Smithtown West, so let's not force anything.
Yeah, although you had that sense, right? Garrico wanted the ball. Like he made that galloping run, kind of like you saw with Frank Tangretti of Chaminade, the long pole scoring in that win over Ward Melville on Saturday that we had for you on News 12 Varsity.
Tangretti's already got a couple goals this year.
Yeah. When you talk long poles on Long Island, I mean, really, the conversation maybe starts with Frankie Tangretti.
As Latini might have warded off. Eschbach. Now Rowan. Rowan shoots low. Save there by Erler.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's made a lot of athletic saves, got it started going hip high, non-stick side across his body on the first save of the game.
They got to hurry.
4 seconds, Riley moving in, Riley tied up. Riley won't get a shot off as 3 and 4 defenders converged on Danny Riley to end the third quarter. So the difference, the same as it was at halftime. Each team with a goal in the third and a 3-goal lead for Smithtown East as we head to the final frame.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all, the face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
The end of the third quarter, Bobby Burns and Dan Riley exchanged some words. And the referees got involved very quickly and sent them back to their respective huddles. No penalties were called. And Smithtown East leads 6-3 as we begin the fourth frame.
Yeah, a little bit of chirping between the two teams. First time we kind of saw that today, that heated rivalry aspect of this.
I think part of it was the way Riley tried to end the third quarter. He really went into a lot of contact, and they swarmed to him very physically. But Smithtown West has got to find a way to put some balls behind Thomas Harkin if they're going to come back in this one. 6-3 the advantage.
And Smithtown East certainly looks like they're willing to let West have the ball out here, right? Out on the perimeter. But once they try to get inside, that's when the long poles are really making things difficult.
Yeah, defense is extending out a good amount for Smithtown East. Here's Riley on the run. Harkin got a piece of it. Ground ball to Andrew Arce. Up top, Cadigan now with it. Cadigan rolling to his right, back to his left. That's the stick in the left hand. A goal today for Jimmy Cadigan. It was his 10th of the season for the two-time All-County performer at attack. Now Arce, the sophomore, sneaking it across on a skip pass. Riley loading up and just going wide at the top left corner. There's Kyle Zawadzki. In All-County as a freshman, his older brother Christian's at Maryland. His oldest brother Anthony played for Lafayette. And he will continue playing lacrosse collegiately at Yale. Cadigan trying to roll free. He's got the pole on him. Cadigan slides to the turf, scoots back up. Cadigan tied up, not able to get much free. Passes behind to Zawadzki. Cadigan staying down for an extra beat. Here's Zawadzki around a curl, high shot, and Harkin stick high, barely had to move it. 2 minutes gone in the fourth quarter. Smithtown East will get their first possession of the fourth quarter after shutting down West. Here's Marino rolling through, splits the defense and scores. Little over pursuit by the defender. Marino rolled right by it, and he saw an opening and went to the near side bottom corner to put it home.
Yeah, he spun off that initial contact, found his way through, and scored just a huge goal for the host Bulls. You know, again, it was a 2-goal game. Last two have come. Latini and Marino have come for East.
Well, the first thing I wanted to say is that looked like a running back when the linebacker tries to come up and make a stop. Well, he was an all-county running back for a Smithtown East football team. So he's got that in his arsenal. Smithtown West will have it after the face-off. Largest lead of the afternoon for the home team, the Smithtown East Bulls over the Smithtown West Bulls. On the run is Hoffman. Up top for Matt Cadigan is a goal today. Goal this season, pardon me. Cadigan with the short stick on him, but not able to do too much there. Connor Rowan not giving him a whole lot of space.
Now in the sport of lacrosse, 4 goals could be made up in a hurry, but I was going to say not the way that Smithtown West is executing.
Yeah, I think when Bob Maltasanti looks back at the tape on this one, he's going to see a lot of same level shots, and especially the last two coming right to the stick, right where Harkin has had his stick as he readies his position. Cadigan off the turnover. Here comes a shot in transition, and another one stick high for Harkin. West continuing the ride. We'll have a timeout by Smithtown East with 8:22 to go in the game.
Yeah, we saw a few chances earlier where there was like a bounce shot, but you're right. I mean, similar kind of attempts for Smithtown West, and it's been a struggle for the visiting Bulls. And it's got to be so frustrating because, again, all the possession that you have.
Yeah, they have controlled the time of possession for sure. As we take a look at the standings in Suffolk League One, the defending Suffolk and Long Island champs Ward Melville, they are at 5-0 in the conference after today, 5-1 overall. That lone loss coming to Chaminade. Smithtown West at 4-0 in the conference coming into today, 4-2 overall. Connecticut 3-0, the only other undefeated team within the league. And of course, West Islip off to a strong start, 5-1 coming into today. Bayshore 5-1 as well. I mean, this league is always one of the deeper in the country, let alone Long Island, and some other scores going on today.
Yeah, how about Hills East? A 14-4 win over Comac. Sachem North beats Copeg 22-0. Miller Place, tight win over Mount Sinai, 10-8. Riverhead, 11-10 over Bayshore. Shoreham Wind River, after a couple of tough losses, they get back in to their winning ways, 18-5 over Hills West. 9-8 Hauppauge over Kings Park. Harborfields, 8-2 over Bellport. Those are your Suffolk scores so far.
Following the timeout, East able to easily get it into the offensive area of the field and step into the box. And now, perhaps for the first time today, we're really seeing East, or we'll see East slow it down. It's not in their DNA too much. Eschbach will load up. Eschbach's shot goes wide. Brunswald hit him in the midsection. He recovered off the bounce. Brunswald, a second-year starter, the lone holdover from the defensive unit last year.
And again, deliberate for Smithtown West. But time and the disadvantage certainly not in their favor right now. 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Deficit as high as it's been all day.
Deflection right into the stick of Jimmy Cadigan. Cadigan off to his left. They switch fields to Matt Cadigan now on the right side. Cadigan back to the cage. Bounces one home past Harkin. And for the first time in 5 shots, they change the level and end up with a goal.
It sounds like you should be coaching.
No, I wouldn't. Wouldn't put that much responsibility on it. It's a lot easier to see up here.
But you're right. You change the level, you go different angles, and again, the way Calderon has performed at the X, you think if you could win this, maybe another goal gets potted, and we might have an exciting final 6 minutes.
That's also one of those things. You could tell that to your players a ton, but if they see something and they want to try and take it in terms of a shot opportunity, it might fall on deaf ears. Face-off win for Smithtown East. Here's Herbert trying on the shot. Let it fly high, and Herbert took a pop after the shot. Smithtown East will go man up.
Yeah, their first opportunity, and like you said, the shot went over, but then the foul was called. We'll see if this is a minute penalty. It is. Unnecessary roughness penalty on West. It is a head contact, so what an opportunity here for Smithtown East. Their first extra man opportunity of the game.
Smithtown West has not scored up on the man-up chance today. And if nothing else, this gives Smithtown East an excellent opportunity to kill a minute off the clock, which shows 6:32 when the penalty began. Working around DeSimone up top. With Burns, we've seen a couple of hidden ball tricks throughout the college season so far. Up top for Burns, pass fake, skips it over to the left side. Here's Barry, now DeSimone will hold up top, about 23 seconds remaining on the man advantage, right inside to Latini, jump on the turnaround, and Erler is there. Boy, Erler in great positioning to deny Latini his fourth.
12 on the extra man.
Don Pazzulli getting a touch. Here's Latini again, turning around, and this time missing it wide.
And Erler is fired up, and he should be.
Back in Burns. Now Eschbach loads up. Penalty is expired. We're back to even strength at 6-on-6. Here's Latini trying to back his way down. Sorry, that was Burns. This is Latini. Now it's Eschbach. Eschbach has the sophomore Cadigan draped all over him, and he pushes him back out. And this possession doing exactly what Smithtown East wants, though, getting some good shots. And if they don't get a goal, they work off a good amount of time.
And it's what they didn't do a week ago, where they were still rushing things up 3 goals in the third quarter, and Jason Lambert was yelling to his guys, hey, guys, time and score, let's be aware of this, and they weren't, and it ended up coming back and biting them.
They turn it over on a moving screen. Erler's pass received by Mayer.
Now Riley gets back in.
Now 4.5 to go. Smithtown West does not have a lot of time to work with. And you wouldn't want to see them take too much time possession to possession. But for them, you just got to get the first one. Calderona's done a well enough job today that you'd have confidence in him. Here's RC, the sophomore. RC skipping it all the way across for Matt Cadigan. Matt Cadigan lowers, and that time, again, right into the numeral of Tom Harkin.
And if you're a goalie, you want it right where you can see it, and that's been the case for Harkin. They get the clear, and now an opportunity to, again, waste some time.
Harkin now in his second year with Smithtown East after transferring back last year from St. Anthony's. Last year for this East team, they didn't know what their defense was going to look like at the beginning of the year. They didn't know what their goalie situation was going to look like. And Harkin was somebody that helped stabilize that presence on the defensive side. Along with Anthony Volker, he was a short stick at St. Anthony's. He transferred back. They put a long pole in his hands, and he had committed to Fairfield as a long pole midfielder by the summer.
Let that be the lesson.
Here's Latini.
And
another moving screen. That time they're going to get Pazzulli for it. But again, getting late for Smithtown West. Under 3 minutes to play.
You want to see a little more urgency here by West.
Here is Riley trying to move inside, and he was checked from behind and lost the ball.
Now if you're West, you've got to take chances.
Long pass. Bouncing all the way through, though. Barry's got it. And that time, knowing game situation, different time of the game, Barry might take that right to goal. 2 minutes, got to keep it in now with a 3-goal advantage. DeSimone and Barry play catch behind the cage.
And you see again, West doubling the ball every time they can. Goalie Erler is out as well for that extra defender.
Rowan staying inside, dodging back to the left side. And already 30 seconds gone in the possession. Rowan, did he step out? Or do we get a timeout? We have a timeout for Smithtown East. And we look ahead to the schedule. Smithtown East, they're back on our air on Saturday with an 11 a.m. start time at home against Massapequa. A rematch of the Long Island Championship game from 2015.
What a game that was, too.
And then Smithtown West, they go to Lindenhurst on the 15th, and then a big stretch with Ward Melville, Sachem North, and West Islip, all three at home.
Yeah, so you survive that murderer's row, and you're right there as a contender, certainly, in big boy Suffolk Lacrosse.
Smithtown West last goal coming 5 minutes and 15 seconds ago. That was the last goal of the game. They have held, Smithtown East has held West to 1 goal per quarter for a team that has scored 13 the other day against Floyd. More impressively, 15 at Comac. Their season low this year to Garden City in the second game of the season. They scored just 1 goal against a team who's always known for their defense, a program who's always known for their defense in Garden City.
Yeah, GC, we'll see them later on. I guess it's next month.
We got April 29th.
This month,
Yep. Yeah. Woodstick.
Oh, yeah.
Round 1.
Under the lights as well out at Manhasset this year. That should be a lot of fun.
A minute and a half to go. Latini has got the double to him. And 3 goals today. And Award Mike Latini, the senior. Eschbach to Matt Cadigan now. Minute 5 to go. Bob Maltesanti wants to talk things over. And 66 seconds left, and his team has a little bit of a hill to climb, down 3. Not impossible, but he needs to get his team on the same page to get that first goal pretty quickly if they're going to come back.
Yeah, there's got to be quicker looks to the cage than they've shown throughout this game.
And the main guys that look for Jimmy Cadigan, Dan Riley, they each have a goal today. Kyle Zawatsky, 14 goals on the season coming in. He has not registered a point today. Nor has John Hoffman, who has 19 points on the season, a very balanced 9 goals, 10 assists.
So don't forget, when this game concludes, stick with us. Matt Shortis will speak to our player of the game.
1 minute remaining in the fourth quarter.
Here is Riley. I think right now Mike Latini might have the inside track on that one. The hat trick today is 3 of the 7 goals. A sidearm shot going wide from Mark Cottage. 50 seconds left. Cadigan now, Riley loading up top. I think the most encouraging thing for Jason Lambert's club today has got to be the defensive effort that you saw from his poles. The guys in the midfield really out on the perimeter, not much allowed. Turnaround shot by Hoffman, goes in top shelf.
West goal is by number 22, John Hoffman. East leads West 7-5 with 33.
And West cuts it to a 2-goal deficit with just 33 seconds left.
So his first of the game, and now all eyes at the face-off ex Herber and Calderon.
Another hold, and against Herber.
And that was almost as good as a clean win.
So here's Cadigan lowering the shoulder. Cadigan moving inside, tripped up, and the ball was stopped by Harkin. He clamps down. Cadigan thought he recovered the rebound, but we'll get an interference against Smithtown West, and Smithtown East will have it with 21 seconds left, trying to hold on to a 2-goal advantage. Rowan over the midfield, and now we are under 10 seconds to go. Riley winding up, trying to shake it free. Flags coming down. Rowan drawing the penalty, and they'll stop it.
And
It looks like Burns getting mixed up again, this time with Calderon. And Maltesanti not happy with it. Burns pointing to the scoreboard.
Yeah, you don't need that.
I don't know if Maltesanti's not happy with Burns or his own guys. And he's getting into the ears of his own guys in Brunswald and Calderon.
Yeah, just 3 seconds left. You see the last win for East over West. You go back April 29th, 2015. 14-7 to score in that one.
And the year before that, a young freshman by the name of Bobby Burns was the big hero. And I think that's a game in the regular season that kind of catapulted this Smithtown East team and put them in the conversation with, at the time, Ward Melville, West Islip, Smithtown West, as those teams that could rightly earn a Suffolk County crown, and they did that year.
Yeah, Smithtown West, at the time of that win by East, was #1 in the Tri-State. And they had all the big names that time, and Smithtown East had all those young guns. Arsari, just a sophomore. Burns, a freshman.
Well, the clock will tick off, and Smithtown East improves to 4-2 on the season, and they win the battle for Smithtown. A 7-5 score as their defense completely limited the Smithtown West attack. It was until the 33-second mark that one of the three attackers scored a goal today for Smithtown West.
A comprehensive win for Smithtown East, certainly a lot different than it was a week ago. They're a lot happier than they were than that overtime loss to John Jay Cross River.
7-5, the final score. Smithtown East improving to 4-2 on this season, dropping Smithtown West to 4-3 in 2017. We'll be back. We'll close it all out in a moment. Stay with us on News 12 Varsity.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all. The face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.
Smithtown East winning their third straight game today, 7-5 over Smithtown West. Mike Latini joins us. He had the hat trick today for the Bulls. And Mike, you guys get started with the 3 straight, all from the attack to start the game. What's the chemistry like for your attack right now at this point in the season?
We've been playing together for years. It's really simple. We just have very good connection, and it's what helps us win.
Missed the first couple of games. I know those were tough for you, especially with the losses, but 3 straight wins now with you back in the lineup. You know, how good does it feel for you to get back out there and to really help the team winning right now?
It feels really great. It was really hard watching us be in slumps a little, but as soon as I got back, we got right back into it. So.
And after losing last year, was that a talking point? Did you guys discuss it this game last year?
Yeah, of course. We use it as great motivation for us, and just to get one today from last year feels really good.
And I know you're on the attack, but defense holding Smithtown West to 5 goals today. What did you see from your side of the field that the defense was giving you guys today?
Well, first, Harkin played an unbelievable game. He was stopping stuff left and right, and our defense really stepped up today on the one-on-one matchup. So,
I appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
7-5, the final score today is Smithtown East improves to 4-2 on the season. And they hand Smithtown West their 3rd loss of the year, dropping them to 4-3. That'll do it for everybody involved in our broadcast. For Dylan Butler and Josh Drebsky, I'm Matt Shorter saying so long. We'll catch you next time on News 12 Varsity.
It's the reason we keep watching, because of underdogs, crazy comebacks, and the last-minute heroics. Because we love it all. The face-offs, the hits, the big-time goals. Because winning never, ever gets old. So, we keep watching anywhere we can. Never miss a moment. Download the News 12 Varsity app today.